Hello,
Hello.
Hello.
and hello to all DrayBarrels out there for a very special podcast this week because for the first time ever, we have a guest, the coach himself, Mr. Mike Burns. How are you?
Fantastic. Honored to be the first guest of this amazing podcast.
Yes, welcome along. We've been excited. We're trying to get this together for a few months, but it's finally come to fruition. So it's a big day for us, Drayman. We don't usually let many people in the cellar, but you're very welcome.
Yeah, you caught me at my office, and I'm sorry if there's a glare off my bald head. We got the sun shining through right now, but it'll fade here in a bit.
I'm suddenly feeling the odd one out.
The Baldy Brigade, who's he? He's not Dray Man, is he? So, welcome to the coach. And we normally start, obviously, with something we call Beer News of the Week, as you both know. And we thought we'd mix it up a bit today. And we're not doing Beer News of the Week. We're going to do Beer Questions of the Week. And they are focused on the coach over here. So if you guys are ready, I'll kickstart some questions for you there.
Yeah, throw them at me. I'm ready.
All right. Okay. It's something me and the governor put together, and he has one and I have one, and we have one more. So we'll start. I mean, this is a hard one, and I don't think I could answer this, but we'll start with what's your favorite all-time beer? Is that something you can answer?
So what's funny is I can answer that immediately. And I've had this conversation with yourself and the guys before. The beer is such a powerful thing, right? You not only the alcohol content, but who you're drinking it with, where you're drinking, and of course it's got to be a good beer, right? So my favorite beer of all time, it's called the Cowiche Canyon Fresh Hop Pale Ale, and it's from Fremont Brewery in Seattle. And that beer was during fresh hop season, so that's when the hops are harvested that time, and they're thrown in, and you got a beer that's maybe 2, 3, 4 days old. And I had it on tap. I had it at the source at Fremont Brewery. So sitting there in Seattle, beautiful day, looking over the water, and I'm drinking this beer, and that sticks out to me. It's like when I smell that certain hop, it takes me back to that moment. So that beer, if I had it today, I'm sure it's phenomenal. But at that moment, that was the best beer I've ever had.
Now, just to let the DrayBarrels know, and this is the first time really that me and Mike have spoken, the coach, but I understand that you're a man that's had beers made for special occasions, such as maybe your wedding and maybe the birth of one of your children, or I'm not sure how many children you've got, but you've had. So this is a man that knows his beer. And
so the beer for my wedding was phenomenal. That did not last very long. Marco got to partake in that. And then Cibolo Creek, which is, I call it my little home brewery. It's the brewery that's about 1.5 miles from my house. They made a beer for when my son was born. It's called New Burns on the Block. And it was an IPA made with Mosaic and Citra hops, which are you can't go wrong with those hops. So both phenomenal beers, definitely in my top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
But that fresh hop, I don't know, that one stuck out. And I can just remember, just sitting on the water. It's right there, and it always takes me back. And that's the beauty of beer.
Yeah.
It's the moment in time.
It helped that I was sitting there with my wife, and we were enjoying Seattle. Granted, she's not really a beer drinker, but they had pretzels, so she was happy.
Everyone's happy. Well, I mean, my go-to beer, and I've said this before, isn't any type of IPA. It goes pretty much to what you were saying about where you drink your beer, who you're with, and mine is just Guinness across the board, because I've loved Guinness ever since I was first drinking. And then when me and the ref there went over to Ireland, we just had it was just lovely. Every pub we went in was proper, beautiful Guinness. The people we were with, just a real strong memory. And then I've been back to Dublin and in the St James's Gate brewery with my wife, and every time I've had it, it's lovely. You do get shit Guinness in places, and there's a guy we follow called Shite Guinness, but generally when I have that drink, I'm never disappointed. So that's my one.
Well, the ref told me that Guinness is very different where y'all are versus the States.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he would know because I've not had a pint of Guinness in the States. So I've
You
been
were
to the
too young at the time when you came over.
Yeah. I had root beer for the first time.
No, it is, and that's probably, I mean, the best Guinness I've ever had has been in Ireland. And I like I said many a times, the closest, the best Guinness I've had here is in the Winchester. They just have the best pour for whatever reason.
It was good. This, at the last match, that Guinness, it hit a little different at 9 a.m. And it just, I don't know if it was because I was with y'all and we're in an environment that's probably, one of the coolest in San Antonio, but that Guinness does taste a little different. And I think they go through their Guinness so quick that it's fresh. Whereas if you go to other places in town, I think that Guinness sits for a while.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The best Guinness I've had wasn't in the Guinness factory, funnily enough. It was in the first ever pub we went in Ireland, me and the ref and the others that we were with. And they had like 6 Guinness pumps on the bar, and the lady was making them. They had dozens behind her. She had the paddle, was wiping the top off with the paddle. It was just that authentic Irish part. Yeah, the music, the fiddles were playing. It was proper, no gimmicks. It was real, and it was just brilliant. So, what about yourself? Is yours Carling, Ref?
Do you know what? You won't be far wrong, because it's almost it is always the best pint. When I get off that plane, I touch down in Heathrow. My first thing is go to the bar and have a pint of Carling, or get back to Wales and have a pint of Carling down the Masons. I don't know. I'm kind of torn between that time in Ireland, but also that peanut butter stout that Alex made for us at your wedding, Coach.
That's a phenomenal beer. And I mean, that environment, the problem with that one, for me, it was my wedding. And at a wedding, you don't get to enjoy your own wedding. I'm hopping around, I'm doing everything. I'm drinking some of that. I'm drinking wine. I'm drinking a little bit of everything. And I got to have a little bit afterwards. And I think you probably got to enjoy it much more than I did, hanging out with the guys and drinking it. So,
I don't know. I had a blast at my wedding. I just got pissed and drank and danced to Ghostbusters. It was wonderful on Carling all night. So
exactly the same as when you were 16.
Nothing changes.
Right. So let's lead on, because this is before we even get to our beers of the week. So I'm guessing that it's somewhere in Seattle, but your recommendation on a bar anywhere in the world that you've been to, where would you suggest? Or a brewery, bar or brewery? Oof. Where would you suggest, Coach?
So I'm going to knock out some breweries real quick in Seattle that I think are no-brainers. Fremont, they do my favorite beer of all time. They do phenomenal stouts. The environment is fantastic. You're looking out over the water. Cloudburst is an amazing brewery. They I think they just won #1 brewery or #1 brewer in the US. I'll get that detail over to the ref, because they're doing just phenomenal beer, and the guy's fantastic. That he's the head brewer and the owner. I actually got to they did a collaboration beer, this brewery in Seattle, with a brewery in Austin called Pint House. And I took my dad to Cloudburst when we were in Seattle, and we got to meet the owner, Steve Luke, and super nice guy. My dad loved the beer. And when they did a collaboration in Austin, when I found out, I called my dad that morning. I said, "Hey man, let's run to Austin," which is about an hour and a half from here. I said, "They're doing a collaboration with Pint House." My dad's like, "Cool, man." So drove over, went over, and had a couple beers. And I thought they were just going to maybe have the beer on tap. Well, the Cloudburst guys come walking in, and so Steve Luke remembered me, the head brewer, and chatting with my dad, and we got to have some beer with them. And they brought some oysters in, because they were going to do an oyster pilsner So they invited us over to eat some Pacific Northwest oysters with them in Austin. I mean, that was just a phenomenal experience. So to me, that place is a no-brainer because the head brewer and the owner and the staff there they're real people, you know, and they were extremely inviting. So that was helpful. And then Reuben's Brews in Seattle. I think I turned the ref on to a podcast. The owner is from the UK.
Yeah.
And they make a fantastic product and cool staff. I mean, just awesome environment. Seattle in general has great environment. Those three are probably my favorite in Seattle. And then, you know, here at home, Cibolo Creek for me. Like I said, that's the one that did the brewery for my son, and super cool place, great food. The staff is fantastic. You see the same faces every time you're there. The turnover is really low. That says something. They're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And they make a good beer. So.
And it's local to you, right, Coach? Because the coach lives in Burnie, and Cibolo Creek is actually
it's a mile and a half from me, you know, and I don't know how it is over there, Gov. I know that the beer scene is picking up, but there's so many breweries that have been popping up in the States, and I've been to a number of breweries that they make beer and it's okay. When Cibolo Creek started out, they didn't try too hard. They made 3 or 4 core beers and they were all good. And now they're starting to kind of venture out and do more. And their beer is just very consistent, really good. They're not trying to be something that they can't be. They know who they are. They make a solid product. But the staff out there, the owners, the head brewer, the refs met them. They're just super cool guys. They're real. And to me, that's half the battle right there.
I'm insanely jealous when I see, obviously on the Instagram and that, a lot of the places that we follow and stuff are in America because you guys have been there. And for me to get to a place that is so big like that would have a nice tap room and something, where I am, I'd have to travel quite far. There are local breweries to me, but they are almost like in a industrial estate with a roller at the front, and it's basically a micro brewery. There's a place tomorrow. I'm going to Cornwall tomorrow with my job, and I'm hoping that this place is open because I have got a spare hour. That is more like what I would say when you guys drive out to these big places and they're sort of set apart, but they've got the restaurant, they've got a tap room, They've got a huge place. This place is what I would say are more American styled. I mentioned it the other day, and at the moment I can't think what they're called, but I'm definitely, even if they're not open, I'm going to drive to where it is because the town isn't very big. It's in Launceston, and try and pop in there. But yeah, I am jealous of you guys because I'm a bit far from a city, really. Exeter is a city, but they have smaller, older breweries, and then really like Cardiff, near where the ref is originally from.
Well, the ref was telling me that you have a little kind of bottle shop or place that you've been frequenting to get some of your...
a little craft beer shop, but I mean it's nothing really. It's not even as big as your office.
Spaceship.
Yeah. What about yourself then, Ref?
Oh yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, probably it holds a special place in my heart, and I've been there a lot, and I spent a lot of time. I haven't been for a little while actually, but there's a little brewery in town called Weathered Souls, and they don't do a big range of beers, and they're just consistently good, and that's obviously the beer we opened on the weekend was the sour, and it just has a special place in my heart. You know, that's probably I went to a few breweries before that, to be honest with you, but it's somewhere me and the coach frequented quite a bit and spent a lot of time there, and we try and get back when we can. Obviously we're very busy these days,
and they're expanding to another state. They're growing so much,
right? Yeah.
And they're actually, their beer is the one that you can find worldwide, the Black is Beautiful. And I remember my first trip there was with our friend Keith and his brother Taylor, and they were serving beer from an ice chest. They had 2 taps, and that was it.
Opening, yeah.
Yeah, and now they're about to hit their 5-year mark, and you can find their beer in Walmarts, and it's blown up. But when you go in there, like we still see Steven and we still see the owners and Marcus, and they're very, very cordial. I mean, they're real
very
people.
down to earth as well and friendly.
Yeah, so it's refreshing to do that, because you know the beer scene, it can be pretty pretentious, which is so funny, because it's beer, you know, and it's like if you don't know everything about a certain type of beer, it's like you're almost not in the cool kid scene, right?
Oh, that's what I said when we first ever started this, that you know you're sort of not worthy enough, you know. It's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, where the object at the end of the day is to drink something that you enjoy and have fun with your friends or whoever you've gone with.
To me, it's who you're drinking it with, and if it's good, then that's a bonus.
Yeah, right. See, now mine isn't a brewery. Mine is a pub that I went to, and we've been to loads of pubs and fond times all over the place. But my pub that I would recommend going to would be when me and my wife went on honeymoon. We went up to Edinburgh for a few days in Scotland. And there was a pub there called Frankenstein's, which I thought had shut, but it's open again. I've just been on and had a look. And just the night that they put on in there was such a good night. I mean, we just got married, so I think we were still hungover from the wedding, but it was just brilliant. They put on a show at midnight. A Frankenstein come down from the ceiling on a big thing and sit up.
Wow.
And it was just a supper place I went and always swore to go back to with a big bunch of mates, but we never quite got there again. But that would be mine. Or the first pub I drank in when I was 16, which was called the Bird in Hand. It seemed like we got served, you know, we were underage and we got served. I'd probably going back into it, it's probably a right shithole, but it had a pool table on a dartboard and it served us beer, and it used to let us in about 20 of us out the back, so we were quite happy there.
So that was the first pub you went to then, Governor?
My first local, yeah, not the first pub, but first local going on my own, you know, without the family.
Okay.
Sneaked in when I was about 16, because over here you have to be 18 to drink in a bar. Where is it? It differs from state to state, is it? Or is it always 20?
No, it's 21. You can be 18 to serve in the military, but you gotta be 21 to drink.
Right.
We wonder. So where was, talking about that, where was the first place you frequented then, Coach? Was that?
So, you know, I was gonna go, let's see, first place. I mean, there's the first breweries we went to, but actually the first place that I remember like really partaking in beer was this place called Hills and Dales. And I think you've passed by it, Ref. Hills and Dales, they call it the center of the universe. And this was a previous ownership than what they have now. But there was, you would get a punch card and there was 42, maybe 50 beers on tap. And if you, and what would happen is over a span of time, when you filled up that punch card, you would get a little placard on the wall with your name on it. And then the second time you did it, you'd get your name on the ceiling. And then the third time, so I ended up having my name on the wall 3 times, or on the little bar and on the ceiling. Keith was up there like 5 times. Zach was up there. And this was in a time when craft beer was readily available, not nearly like it is now, but I was not a craft beer guy. So you'd go through this card and you'd say, okay, well, there's the Coors, there's the Miller, I'll do all that. And then you get to the Guinness, which was a little rough for us, right, over here in America. And then you got the Old Foghorn, and then you got the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. And then it's like, oh man, what is this stuff, right? I got to push through this terrible, funky beer. And now I look at Sierra Nevada Pale Ale as that's a gateway beer for most people getting into craft beer.
I think we've all been, you know, I remember talking about Guinness in exactly the same pub I was talking about when I was 16. And, you know, everyone's drinking lager or something like that. And then someone's like, oh, I'm going to have a Guinness, like more manly type of thing. And I like Guinness as soon as I had it. But I remember this kid who we were with, and he was a year above me, and he took a big mouthful of it, and He almost had it all back up again because he didn't agree with him. We've all been there.
Yeah, our ref Zach's dad used to say there's a pork chop in every can because there's so many calories and it's so thick. But
I
Guinness,
heard that.
Guinness is not really too high ABV, right?
No, it's like 4 something, right?
No, I don't think it's too high. It's just the mouth feel is a little different. But
yeah, definitely when you think about how strong most stouts are. And we've noticed this, that stouts tend to be a bit more stronger than like your IPAs or your lagers and such like that.
We were talking about it, Ref, weren't we? That you guys over there picking up an 8% beer, 9% beer is normal. Where
I mean, I've got.
It is.
For me, if I was trying to find a 8 or 9% beer, it's not that easy to. Of course, I could order one.
But you know why that is, right? I kind of looked into
11.3 right here.
Oh, right.
But
hey Ref, did you send the Gov that podcast?
Yes, I did. I don't know if you listened to it, but he talks about the reasoning behind why beers are so strong over here compared to in the UK, but it's to do with duty. It's the duty they pay on it. Yeah, I didn't realize.
Let's not have a row on the refs first, on the on the coach's first show. The ref and the Gov go at it. You have to me about that. I've got a long drive tomorrow. It'd be perfect. I could listen to it tomorrow.
Yeah, have a go. You know, it's so interesting. It's a brewer actually in the UK, and it's a British brewer based in Seattle, and he kind of talks a little bit about it. And I didn't realize it. It's very informative actually, and I didn't know a lot of this shit. So have a listen. It's one to look out. Anyway, we need to start drinking beer, don't we, chaps?
I think the coach has passed his inquisition with flying colours. So we need to get the ball rolling. We've got 3 different beers to go on. I don't know what you guys have chosen, but Marco, you start us off or we get ready.
Okay, I'll get the ball rolling, and we are going to a commercial break in probably about 5 minutes. But I am going to do, this is Kiran Ichiban, and it's a lager all the way from Japan, because we talked last week that we don't really do any Asian beers, and I found this this lager that's very well established. The brewery is 1888. It was established in Japan by, of all things, a Scotsman and a Norwegian. So,
oh my God, what a mix. We'll get a pour on. We'll all introduce our beers before the commercial break for the.
I think I'm probably going to upset the Gov here because I don't have a glass because I'm at work, but I got a bottle. So
you're not drinking Guinness from a can, are you?
No. Well, this is one I already finished, and that's the Betty Kolsch, and that's easy drinking German style Kolsch, and that's brewed here in San Antonio at it's High Wheel is the brewery, and they're in Southtown, Ref. So they're within walking distance to about 2 or 3 other breweries, and they're connected to Dorsal, DORCOL. They do spirits there also. So connected, But what I'm drinking now is going to be Lagunitas Contents Under Fresher, and this is much like my favorite beer of all time. This is a fresh hop beer, but this is a fresh hop IPA. It's got Mosaic, Citra, Simcoe, and Sabro hops. What's funny is I'm an IPA guy for sure, but my favorite beer of all time is a pale ale. And the difference between IPA and pale ale can often be 2, 3, 4% of IBUs or ABV. And then it's just not as hoppy. This one's going to be a little hoppier, but super fresh, super clean. Pretty excited. This one comes out during fresh hop season, and then you won't see it. So this probably has about another good 2 weeks on it, and then it's probably going to start losing a lot of its flavor.
Drink it fresh.
I thought this week I was toying with something else, and I thought, no, I've got to do something to represent this British side. And across the pond here, I was thinking, what can I do? Something steeped in tradition. So I have gone for a classic. I've gone for a Theakston,
Old Peculiar.
which is a dark red ruby ale. Now, it's a bit older than yours over there, Ref. This one's 1827.
A little bit.
So
Nearly.
but yeah, Theakston's is a Yorkshire beer, and we spoke about it before. Yorkshire tends to be the sort of mecca at the minute for beers over here. There's plenty of breweries there, lovely old breweries.
So is the Gov on Untapped?
No, he's not. He hasn't got onto that yet. We've talked about doing a DrayMen's one. Maybe we do that as a joint one.
I only joined Facebook about 3 years ago.
Well, Untapped is, I think it's a beautiful thing if it's used in the right way. It's, I don't rate like Hefeweizens. If I drank one, I wouldn't rate it because I don't like that style of beer. So it's not fair for me to tell a brewer, an artist, that their beer is terrible because I don't like that style.
Yeah,
right. I might just say, hey, I drank this beer, and I just wouldn't rate it. But more importantly, I just like saying, who was I with when I was drinking this beer, and then did I have it? It's pretty fun. It's a good memory thing. Sometimes you'll just scroll back 2-3 years in the past.
Yeah, it's better on Facebook. I'll be honest with you. I use that more than I do Facebook.
It's not quite as good as MySpaces. Not as good as
no, you can't have your song playing.
Quick, before we go for the commercial break.
I thought I'll get a brown ale.
Oh,
Classic, but it looks dark on your screen, but it is a ruby red over here.
Okay.
So, and this one, talking about the hops, this has got a Challenger Target, and then the Majestic Fuggle hop, which is the difference here. The Fuggle hop is one that is highly rated. So I'm going to give it a little taste because I can't wait.
So I'm looking it up on
Untapped.
Yeah.
Christ, I nearly spilt it over my wife's computer then. Fuck. Right.
Now, so what's the brewery, Gov? What's the brewery?
Brewery is Theakston's Brewery.
All right. So there's been 38,000 people that checked this beer in.
Yeah.
And I actually had a friend that checked it in, and his name is Marco Lloyd.
Oh, I've heard he's a bit suspect.
And he said it's better than expected wedding ale. He gave it a 4 out of 5.
Oh wow! Oh, brilliant!
Wow. High praise indeed there.
And what's cool?
There's the top. I know that Mark always likes to look at the top.
Keep it for me because I didn't save it. Oh, where did I have it?
Yeah.
I don't know where that is.
But so Gov, this is the beauty of Untapped. Marco doesn't even remember. He's got the that beautiful flag in the background.
Brilliant. Yeah. Hey, time for a commercial break. Hold that thought, and we'll be back with you momentarily.